WWE SmackDown will be airing tonight on the USA Network. This edition of the Blue brand will be the second to go for 3 hours following the premiere extended edition just last week. However, not much has been promoted for tonight's show. LA Knight will challenge for the United States Championship, plus Tiffany Stratton will appear after winning her first world title. Otherwise, the program will likely deal with the fallout from Raw's Netflix premiere on Monday. One group heavily affected by what went down on Monday is the new Bloodline. The stable led by Solo Sikoa had a rough night, as Sikoa took on Roman Reigns in tribal combat and ultimately lost to the OTC. Now that the new Bloodline lost such a big match, what is next for the stable? This article will take a look at 4 directions for the group on tonight's big show, which could include new members being recruited or even a major alignment shift. The new Bloodline currently consists of 3 active members: Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, and of course, Solo Sikoa, represent the WWE faction. Tonga Loa and potentially Bronson Reed do, or could represent the group, but they're both injured. It is clear that as a trio, the new Bloodline isn't as dominant as they were with 4 or even 5 members. As a result, the stable could decide to recruit new members to the lineup. This includes names both already signed to WWE and those not yet affiliated with the company. Both Hikuleo and Lance Anoa'i could debut tonight as new members of the stable. Alternatively, someone such as Seen Maluda or Zilla Fatu could make their debut in the company as a surprise. Non-family could also work. For example, Shinsuke Nakamura was given a pass from the group before. Could it mean he joins the stable? The Bloodline formed in 2020 and were heels from the very start. This continued over the next 4 years. The OG Bloodline now consists of babyfaces, but the new Bloodline have been heels still ever since Solo Sikoa took over. That could change on WWE Friday Night SmackDown on USA Network tonight. For the first time ever, the new Bloodline could turn babyface in what would be an absolutely shocking moment. They could do so by saving someone, perhaps Jimmy Uso, from Drew McIntyre. Alternatively, they could cut a promo looking to repent for their sins and make things right over the coming weeks and months. This gradual turn would be more interesting, but either option could work. Solo Sikoa did something that Paul Heyman said was a major mistake when the enforcer of the Bloodline took over the WWE stable. He brought in rogue talent who, according to Heyman, had no place in civilized society. Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu are the 3 performers in question. Heyman claims that Tama and Tonga were banned from the United States and Jacob Fatu was never welcome anywhere but a prison. These WWE stars are dangerous and ruthless. That potential mistake may prove to backfire on SmackDown tonight. In a stunning move, Jacob Fatu could turn on Solo Sikoa and he and Tama Tonga could take him out. This would remove him from the new Bloodline and allow for Jacob Fatu to take over the group, perhaps even giving it a brand new name. WWE Monday Night Raw's first match on Netflix was Tribal Combat. Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns went one-on-one with both the Ula Fala and the right to be called Tribal Chief on the line. In the end, Roman Reigns stood tall. Solo Sikoa lost the Ula Fala and is no longer Tribal Chief. While many think this means the story between them is over, it could continue tonight, but in a way fans didn't see coming. The new Bloodline could officially be absorbed into the OG Bloodline. Beginning tonight, Roman Reigns could now lead Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Jimmy Uso, Paul Heyman, and if they want to be included, Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. This would make for the most destructive and dangerous version of the Bloodline yet. All it would take is for the new Bloodline to acknowledge Roman Reigns as their tribal chief. As WWE continues to build upon its multi-layered storylines, the future of the Bloodline seems to be teetering between evolution and division, especially with Roman Reigns at the helm. The Universal Champion's reign as the tribal chief has seen him command dominance, but with the ever-changing landscape of WWE, it is becoming increasingly clear that a transformation might be on the horizon for the Bloodline. Here are 4 potential directions for the group as Reigns leads a new heel faction and new stars are poised to debut. Roman Reigns has been the face of the Bloodline for years, and while Solo Sikoa, Jimmy and Jey Uso have all played pivotal roles in the faction. It could be time for Reigns to expand his empire. Historically, Reigns has dominated as the undisputed tribal chief, but a heel faction led by him could take things to a new level. A key element of this direction could involve Reigns bringing in fresh talent from NXT or other unexpected sources. The possibility of introducing new stars to join the Bloodline would not only inject excitement into the faction, but also keep the dominance of the Bloodline fresh and unpredictable. Reigns could forge alliances with rising stars who are looking for an established leader to guide them to the top, much like how the faction initially began with him recruiting the Usos and Solo Sikoa. It could be a game-changing moment for new stars to receive a massive push under the shadow of Reigns, elevating both their profiles and the group's power. In this scenario, we could see a dominant faction featuring not just the usual suspects, but new faces who bring an added layer of unpredictability. The Bloodline's reach could grow beyond what we've seen before, becoming a more formidable group than ever. Another potential direction for the Bloodline could center on the growing internal strife between the Usos and Roman Reigns. Over the past few months, there have been moments of tension between the Usos and Reigns, and the way the story unfolds could lead to a pivotal shift in the faction. With Jimmy and Jey Uso showing signs of rebellion, particularly with Jey's emotional departure and return, the Usos may find themselves questioning their loyalty to the tribal chief. This internal conflict could culminate in one of the Usos deciding to break away from Roman Reigns and go on their own path, forming a new faction or aligning with other wrestlers. If this occurs, it would signal a major shakeup within the Bloodline, as Reigns would not tolerate betrayal, and the fractured faction could lead to heated rivalries, both within the family and outside it. The drama of seeing Reigns turn on the Usos could be amplified by the possibility of new members of the Bloodline supporting one brother over the other, further intensifying the division. This type of conflict would keep the storyline fresh, especially as WWE fans have already been captivated by the ebb and flow of the Usos' loyalty to Reigns. Solo Sikoa's role as Roman Reigns' enforcer has been instrumental in elevating the Bloodline, but he is more than just muscle. With his growing star power, Solo Sikoa is ripe for a bigger role in the faction. If Reigns continues to dominate, he might turn to Solo as his most trusted lieutenant, positioning him as the true enforcer of the group. As WWE slowly builds the character of Sikoa, we could see him being more than just a sidekick or protector of Reigns. A future where Solo is positioned as the powerhouse of the Bloodline, taking on both challengers and rivals, could be a game-changer. Not only would this give Sikoa more opportunities to showcase his own persona, but it would also provide the faction with a more dynamic layer. The possibility of Solo stepping into the spotlight also presents the potential for a power struggle between him and Roman. If Solo begins to carve out his own identity as a top talent, it could create tension within the faction, with Solo either seeking his own claim as tribal chief or defying Reigns outright. This friction would elevate the stakes within the Bloodline, particularly if Solo eventually breaks away to establish himself as a main event star. The fourth direction for the Bloodline could be the expansion of its identity. Roman Reigns has historically kept the faction rooted in the Samoan lineage, but with WWE constantly evolving, it would be a bold move to bring in new talent from diverse backgrounds to reframe the Bloodline as a larger, more inclusive faction. In this scenario, Reigns could actively recruit wrestlers from different walks of life, thus transforming the Bloodline from a traditional family-based faction into a far-reaching coalition that commands global influence. This would not only create new avenues for potential storylines, but it would also give fresh talent the opportunity to prove themselves in a high-profile setting, helping to elevate the faction while further solidifying Roman's status as a leader. Integrating wrestlers from various backgrounds would also allow for different dynamics within the faction. Clashing personalities, different wrestling styles, and new feuds could all emerge. This approach would breathe new life into the Bloodline, while still maintaining the cohesive power of Reigns' leadership. As the Bloodline continues to evolve, this new direction could be seen as a way for Reigns to cement his legacy, showing that he is not just a champion of his family, but a champion of a larger, more diverse, and global wrestling community. The future of Roman Reigns' faction, the Bloodline, is packed with possibilities, with each direction offering unique twists and potential storylines that could impact WWE programming for months or even years. Whether Roman Reigns leads an expanded faction of new stars, battles with his family over loyalty, elevates Solo Sikoa to new heights, or redefines the Bloodline as a more inclusive group, each path holds the potential to create intense drama, generate excitement among fans, and establish the next wave of superstars in WWE. The key to success in any of these directions lies in keeping the audience captivated by the ever-shifting alliances, rivalries, and tensions, while maintaining Reigns' dominance as the centerpiece of this powerful faction. No matter which direction WWE chooses, the Bloodline is primed to remain a force in the company, one that will continue to shape WWE's future in the most compelling way.